got a question for you this morning. When you hear the word priestess, what does it bring up inside of you? What does it ping inside of you? How do you feel about that word? How do you react or respond? Are you drawn to it? Are you find yourself in resistance to it? You know, this is a word that has risen up in our collective over the last, I would say, 10 years. The priestess as an archetype, as an energetic container for us as women, has become one that is becoming reignited in our imaginations. And there are many, many, many of us who are called to be walking this path of the priestess in many different ways from many different lineages. You know, for me, it's become my life's work to reclaim, to remember, to be in exploration, to be in deep understanding and excavation of what it means to walk the path of the priestess, both as an inner spiritual practice that also goes to an outer vocational standing in the world. And these two paths weave in and out with one another as far as I'm concerned in my own life. I remember when I first came across the word priestess and I was being initiated into the 13 Moon Mystery School, and that time was a very private experience for me. You know, my outward world, I was a psychotherapist and I was a supervisor, I was a trauma specialist, I worked all over the world doing very serious work, you know, and I was working in what I considered to be a very powerful emergent field of trauma healing and trauma recovery back then, about 15 years ago. But my deep spiritual life and my deep sustenance, and where my soul was really being fed and watered, was in the world of the priestess. And these two worlds stood very separately for quite some time, even though they were intimately related, of course. So what happened was I got a nudge, and there's a story behind this, but a deep catalyzing moment happened in my life, and the Priestess Presence Temple was born. Now, it wasn't that easy, because birth is never truly that easy. It can be beautiful, but it's also very confronting to give birth to something, an idea, a project, a baby, something into the world, right? The birthing pangs for me around the Priestess Presence Temple, I suspect, are ones that you might recognize in yourself, because when I heard that word priestess, I was equally drawn toward it and also reviled or repulsed, or like, oh no. And I had lots and lots of fear come up around standing in this word priestess, mainly because I didn't see anyone else doing it at the time. I was fearful of getting a backlash and people misunderstanding. I was fear of being humiliated and shamed because, you know, it was woo-woo and it was out there, and I was a respectable professional, you know, with credentials and licenses and all the rest of it. And the truth is that the initiation of standing as priestess in the world has been one of the most catalyzing, accelerating, amazing homecoming for me personally. And what I've known is over the many, many years now that I've been in the Priestess Presence Temple and School of the Sacred Arts, thousands and thousands of other women have stepped up and into this work of reclamation. So this word priestess is powerful, right? And I would love to deepen in with you around what it means to be a ceremonial priestess, to stand in the world, to bring these skills forward, and to also feel into why it is that we have this embedded place of fear or reactivity or resistance to claiming our gifts and standing in our spiritual ministry and our spiritual leadership.